do you know about Scotch? Welcome to a brand new episode of Go. I'm your host, Dani Giesbrecht, and we are here at Tavern 1903 talking all about Scotch and Scotch education. Where does it come from? How do you make it? And how do you drink it? We're going to answer all those questions on today's show, as well as give some tickets away to a special Scotch event happening in Edmonton next weekend. So stay tuned. Lots to do, lots to talk about, and a little bit to drink. But up first, Sean TV's Bianca Jade discovers why a local businesswoman is giving up her freedom and heading to jail. Thanks for that, Bianca. Up next, after learning his aunt had an incurable type of cancer, one local man vowed to try and make a difference. Sean TV's Alexa McLean reports. From ruby to gold, we're going to talk about the different shades of Scotch after the break, where it comes from, how you make it, as well. We're also going to pair Scotch with food, plus so much more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in now, we're down here at Tavern 1903 talking all about Scotch. Scotch culture. How do you drink it? How do you make it? And how do you get these fancy different colors going on? We are down here with Dan Volway, our Scotch ambassador, and we have some tickets to give away to a special Scotch event happening in Edmonton next weekend, so stay tuned. But first, it was a very exciting summer for this Edmonton junior hockey player, first a Memorial Cup champion, now drafted by the Dallas Stars. Shaw TV's Dave Dawson reports. Thanks for that, Dave. From one playing field to another, in our second helping of sports, we learn how football has become more than just a game. It's become a family legacy for these two local athletes. All right, we are now here with Dan Volway, our Scotch connoisseur, talking about what Scotch is, the history, how to drink it. There's so many different ways that people love to enjoy their Scotch. But first off, the difference between Scotch whiskey and whiskey. Let's start there.
Great question, Dana. So whiskey's made all over the world. To be called Scotch, it has to be produced in Scotland and aged for a minimum of 3 years in Scotland.
Now, tell me, I see 4 different bottles, 4 different colors. How do they all get these different shades?
That's all natural color that comes from the wood. It's the type of barrel that we age the whiskeys in and the maturity of the whiskeys that we put into the bottle.
And typically there's usually 2 different types of barrels when you are producing Scotch.
We use 2 different types of oak, that's correct. So we use some American oak, which is brought over from the Midwest to Spain and aged in Spain. We also use some Spanish oak. And the difference between the 2 types of wood is the Spanish oak is a little bit more porous, so we get a little bit more flavor, a little bit more color. If you look at the first whiskey, Gold, mostly American oak. Last whiskey in the range, Ruby, all Spanish. So that's where we get that deep, dark, rich color.
Does it have to do as well with how long the Scotch is being aged?
Absolutely, and it depends on how often we use the barrels. The first time we use that barrel after we get the barrel seasoned properly with Oloroso sherry for 2 years, we get more flavor, more color. The second time, a little less. You can use barrels up to 4 times. We'll only use them twice for our single malt whiskeys.
You compared making Scotch a little bit to making soup. The more you blend it, the longer it sits, the more mature, the more enhanced the flavors. And you're often taking a barrel of Scotch that's been aged for a blank number of years and producing it with a much younger or much older barrel.
Yes, absolutely. So these whiskeys range from 12 years of age all the way up to 22 years of age.
Cool. Well, let's pour some.
Right,
and then let's talk about how people like to drink their Scotch, because my boyfriend likes to drink his neat. Some people like it on ice. Some like it with a little bit of water.
Absolutely.
Is there a right or wrong way to drink it?
Absolutely not. There's no right or wrong way to drink whiskey. I always encourage people, when you try a whiskey for the first time, just to try it neat. Try it on its own, and then you decide what you feel the whiskey needs. A lot of times it depends on the occasion, so I'm going to pour us a couple glasses of Gold.
And as you pour that, you were telling me that you wish 20 years ago you would have known how popular Scotch would become today.
Yes. We might have been ready for the boom. Whiskey is doing very well, and it takes a long time to make these whiskeys. So
tell us what we got here.
Okay, so we're going to start off with Gold, which is a perfect whiskey for a nice sunny day like today. And when you nose whiskey, it's a little bit different than wine. If you want to get more flavor out of the whiskey, I always encourage people to just part your lips a little bit, draw some air in through your mouth and your nose, but you get more of the flavor.
Okay.
If you try just using your nose, it's much more. You get more of the alcohol, right?
I feel like I might snort some of
Which
this.
is why we don't want to. We don't want to swirl the glass too much because that accentuates that
So
flavor.
don't swirl like wine, where you swirl a lot. No
I
swirling.
urge you not to do that yet. Yeah, just when you're ready to take a sip, just take a little sip and try to let it linger on your palate a little bit, because we taste different things, different parts of your mouth. Initially, you'll get a little bit of sweetness at the tip of your tongue. You might get some acidity at the sides. You'll feel the warmth of the alcohol as you swallow the whiskey.
Okay, here we go. And this being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on Go. Oof. Welcome back. Here we have some beautiful amber Scotch from a Sherry Oloroso cask. Again, we are down here at Tavern 1903. This is Dan Volway, our Scotch ambassador, and we are learning all about this alcohol on today's show. How do you drink it? Where is it made? How is it made? And how do you get these beautiful colors? Well, coming up, we're talking about food. What do you eat Scotch with? How do you enhance the flavors of your food and pair it perfectly with your drink? Stay tuned for that. But first, we meet a local DJ who's taking Edmonton's electronic music scene by storm. And Shaw TV's Brianne McLaughlin caught up with the artist to find out how he went from fan to opening act. Thanks for that, Brianne. Okay, now to pair Scotch with food. For our first dish, we have an Alberta Angus strip steak with a mushroom truffle sauce, roasted fingerling potatoes, baby green beans wrapped in prosciutto, and then we have our cedar planked Atlantic salmon, winter vegetables. We have candy cane beets, broccolini, grape tomatoes, a sour cream mashed potato side with some grainy mustard seed sauce. Now, Dan, how do we pair these with Scotch?
Well, whiskey's a lot like wine. What you want to do, Dana, is you want to match the weight of the dish to the weight of the whiskey.
Okay.
And you want them to be balanced, and meaning, the food, the intensity of the food should be similar to the intensity of the whiskey that you're going to pair it with. We've paired the cedar plank salmon with amber, which is just a very classic match. Smoked salmon and amber work beautifully. And with the steak, we've gone with something a little bit more intense. We've gone with the sienna, which is a little bit more full-bodied and has a little bit more spice and complexity to the whiskey itself.
Okay, so when I grab a Scotch here, again, our amber, do you sip the Scotch first? Do you suggest you eat the food first, or how do you attack this?
You can do either. I usually take a little sip of my whiskey first,
Okay.
and then I'll try some food and repeat.
Okay, let's get in there. So attack the salmon over here. And then again, you said the smokiness of the salmon is what's going to really transfer well with
Work
the
well
caramel.
with the whiskey, I think.
Oh, that's great. Do you want to give her a go?
Sure. Yeah.
Dive into the salmon. At the Scotch event that's happening next weekend, what are people going to be learning? What exactly
talk about-
are we going to walk away with Scotch
The
knowledge?
regions of Scotland. We're going to talk about how to taste and enjoy whiskey, and we're going to take them through the full range of the Macallan whiskeys.
Okay. And what are you most excited about people learning?
I think the most exciting thing is just finding out which is their favorite, and I always like to ask people afterwards which one they enjoyed the most and why.
Okay, well, I'll let you take a bite. I'm going to rehash what I've learned here about Scotch today. Go for it. Yep, Dan, dive in. So far I've learned that Scotch whiskey must come from Scotland. It has to be aged a minimum of 3 years.
Right.
You can drink it on ice, you can drink it with a little bit of water, or you can have it neat or straight up, which means just Scotch. And then the color of the Scotch, that comes about because of the different types of barrels that you use.
With this particular range, yes, you don't always know by looking at the color, because some producers do add liquid caramel to the whiskey, but Macallan, what you see is what you get.
All right, well, we're going to dive into the strip steak, but it's time for our on-the-go calendar. Take a look. Cheers. Okay, we are just wrapping up, but if you want to win your way in to Raise the Macallan, it's happening at the Matrix Hotel Thursday, October 30th. We have some tickets to give away. You have to answer this question on Twitter. How long does Scotch whiskey need to be aged to be a true Scotch? Just tweet us the answer at Shaw TV EDM. I've been your host, Dana Giesbrecht. We'll see you next time. And now we drink?
We drink.
Sniff and suck? And clink your teeth.